from Black Swan Journals, and I'm working in my art journal today doing some prompts from Janet Nash. She has a channel on YouTube. I will link her below. This is a new art journal I just made, and it's a book from the library that they were giving away. You know when they do that. And here I did watercolor these birds under the guidance of Diane Antone, who is a watercolorist on YouTube. I will also link her channel in the description box below with Janet's. And on the front was some seagrass wallpaper that I got from a wallpaper book, and just some other papers that I matted it with and layered up, and a simple beginning to a brand new art journal book. So I already started in it. I had this little spread done, like not done, but like one day I was just feeling these colors. These are really, truly, I think, my colors. Coral and turquoise. And I wonder if it's because I love the ocean so much, but I don't know. I love a lot of colors, but these colors come up a lot for me. So here I'm just showing you. I'm going to fill up these pages with gesso and then create a spread as I go along. And this is my first one. And Janet's prompts were, it's kind of funny, but paint a sticker or print a sticker, make a journal card, patchwork, mindful words. So I don't have sticker paper, but here I'm just going to paint on this parchment paper and then put glue on the back after I fussy cut it out when I'm finished and call that a sticker. That's going to be my sticker. And I think she'll be just fine with that. She's super easygoing, so sweet. Every Monday, she has a live 9 a.m. and she picks prompts out of her basket. I think 5 of them. And she's relaxing and mindful and just really lovely. Great group of ladies and a few fellows too, I think. So here I drew with pencil this fairy, and I basically went to Google Images or Bing Images. I'm not sure which engine. And I just typed in hand-drawn fairy, and this came up with a bunch of different things. And I basically just kind of looked at the computer and then drew on my paper and made it my own a little bit. So now I'm going to watercolor her, and I have her hair like up in a bun. And what I'm doing here, well, a minute ago, is some brown for her hair. I'm going to let that dry, and then later on I'm going to do a lighter color on the bun. So now while that's drying, I'm going to work on the wings. No, I'm going to work on the body. I thought some corally orange would be really pretty for her bodysuit. So that's what I'm doing here. And these watercolors were really inexpensive. I got them at Hobby Lobby, and I think they're called Koi from Sakura, and they weren't that much money, and they work really well. The colors mix together well. It's got a nice palette that it came with. It even has those little sponges there to, you know, wipe off your brush if you're on the go. So I thought I would leave in the watercoloring for you, just in case you're new and you want to see what I do. And honestly, this is really just coloring with paint, because the brush is so tiny. You're really not utilizing true watercolorist techniques here, in my opinion. The image is so tiny that it requires such a small brush that it's really just like coloring. So don't be afraid to try this at all. It really honestly is like coloring when it's this tiny, because your brush can't really hold that much water or that much paint. So it's a great way to start out and sort of get your feet wet, if you will. And I always try to leave a little bit of white, meaning don't color in the image all the way. Like I did just there, I left about 4 or so areas that weren't painted to create white. Oh, my dog, my dog, honey, she was bumping me in the thigh with the toy and says, "Let's play." So I had to take a minute and throw the toy. This is a regular after dinner routine that we do nightly. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. So, anyways, that what I was saying before is it creates like a highlight, as if sun is hitting the image and creating a highlight. For me, I spin my paper around when I color or watercolor or draw. It just, you find what way is easiest for you, for your hand and your brain to work, and just keep going to that area, spinning and going to that area rather than trying to learn a whole new way to draw or paint. You certainly could if you were so inclined, but it's a little easier if you spin it and work from where you're comfortable. So here I'm filling in the rock, but what I'd like to do here is add a little bit of deep sort of violet, indigo, purpley color here. I don't want my rock to be too literal. I definitely want this spread to be whimsical. She's a tiny fairy looking up at a giant foxglove flower, and that's what she's going to be soon when we're done. And so yeah, I kept the rock kind of on the purpley tones to keep the whimsy. And then I dried with my heat tools because I want to now add new color that I don't want to mix in with the original color. So here I'm putting in a little bit of yellow ochre onto the bun of the fairy. My hair is sort of brownish, blondish, and the ends are always lighter. I work outside and it gets a lot of sun, so the ends are always lighter. So when I put it up, I always have like blonde on the ends. You couldn't really read that, but it was a Princeton #2 Velvet Touch, in case you're interested. But honestly, any tiny, pointed, rounded, pointed watercolor brush would be just fine. That's nothing fancy that I had. Just sort of like a mid-grade brush I got at Hobby Lobby. Here, I want to go over, I sort of want to outline the fairy to make her pop off the page. And I'm just using a pen that I take notes with or write with at home. It's called Onyx. I forget the brand name, but it's very common. It's not really an art pen per se. I just picked it up to use it. Use what you have, right? That's what we all say. And the pen above me is definitely more of an art type pen, but the tip was a little too thick or big for the detail and definition I was looking for. So here I'm just going with sort of like a roller ball type, uniball type Onyx pen. Outlining her, creating some shadows and depth. Her body really pops there when you add just a little bit of shadow in between the wing and her shoulder. It's so relaxing to draw in watercolor. I find it so relaxing, and I'm very new at it. I'm totally brand new. So if you're looking for professional watercolor techniques, don't come here. Not yet, at least. I'm practicing and wanting to get better, which will come in time, and finding my own style, developing my own style, which also comes with practice. So I'm new at drawing and new at painting, and I'm pretty new at junk journaling, but I have to say that I've been watching junk journaling on YouTube for about, I want to say 10 years, um, but hadn't had the time to get into it myself, but found it so relaxing to watch. So I've learned so much through the decade of watching other creators on YouTube about junk journaling. So here she is, she's done. I put her aside to dry, and I had these Art Deco stamps that I had used on another project, and I've been using them slowly in other videos. And those two stamps were actually stamp offs of a stamp that I'm using up in future projects and in this current project. So here I am so excited because one of the prompts is patchwork, and I've always wanted to get into hand stitching, slow stitching, quilting, embroidery, French knots, all these things. But I'm so excited that this prompt is making me, for the very first time, do patchwork. So what I did was I looked up on YouTube floral patchwork, and I'm going to link this person's channel in the description box below. And it was a wonderful tutorial, very nice video, very well done. And her name is Emma Jones, I believe. And so, anyways, I followed her tutorial. Poorly, may I add. It is my very first time live here with you doing this. So she does a lovely job, and this is my first time. So it's a little rough, and not too bad though for my first time. But basically, I took some scrap fabric and I cut the little teardrop shape out of some white fabric first, and then I placed that into the floral fabric. She glued it down in the center with a special little like pen glue that must be for sewing that I must get. I must get that for my stash. This, I don't recommend the way I'm doing it. It's fussy, sticky. It was a pain in the neck. But hey, I was using what I had, and nothing was going to stop me from doing this patchwork for Janet and for myself, quite honestly. And yeah, I've always wanted to. So here's my, rough first attempt at patchwork, and I'm creating 6 little flower petals that Emma had secured down with glue first, and then slow stitched or hand stitched, patchwork, whatever you'd like to call this method. And I think it's a blend, right? It's a blend of these things. And yeah, so you basically face the pieces together. And she did what she called a whip stitch, just a simple whip stitch to secure the two faced in pieces together. And you continue until you have 3 that are attached. She recommended not going on in a circle, but stopping and then creating the other 3 so that you have 2 halves when you're done. She recommends this because in her experience, that way you don't have a hole in the center when you join them. If you do it one by one, side by side, I think you can have a hard time with having a little gap, like hole in the center. But honestly, because this was my first time, I didn't like my sewing. It wasn't very neat in the middle. So I went ahead, later in the video you'll see, and covered up my center anyway. And I did it for several reasons. I wanted to embellish the center, but I also wanted to just cover up my stitching because it was really rough because I'm totally new, but loving it and having so much fun. So, anyway, I was saying earlier, been watching junk journaling and art journaling, mixed media on YouTube for about 10 years and recently started a channel myself. I think I only have like 22 videos. This might be my 23rd. And my first video is my very first junk journal that I've ever made. So um, I'm a designer by nature, though. I'm a floral designer. I used to own a flower shop. Then I sold that after about a decade of running it and started a high-end gardening landscaping business. I longed to be outside, and I'm still doing that now. I'm still doing that. And I'd love to transition to doing this, tutorials and making journals and maybe even digitals and starting an Etsy or maybe just a website, I'm not sure. But yeah, I'm really hoping to transition into this and make this my work is play career. That's my new theory. That's my new thing I'm learning in life. Work is play. Work should be play. And although gardening is play, as I get older, it is harder. It's seasonal. It's outside, you're in the elements. It does not matter if it's 40 degrees, and that's Fahrenheit. That's quite cold. I don't know what that is across the pond in Celsius, but it's near freezing temperatures. And then you also have to work when it's sweltering and hot, and you have to work in the rain. So as I get older, I'd love to do this. And yeah. So here's my finished product. I'm so thrilled, so happy. I absolutely love it. Thank you, Janet. Thank you, Janet Nash, for pushing me to do this because I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have done this now. Someday, yes, but not now. So thank you, Janet. And thank you to prompts. Anybody that wants to get out of their comfort zone or just, get out of a rut, check out her prompts or other people's prompts as well. So here's my adorned center. And I just cut some ribbon up and put it in the center. And then I'm going to glue it down onto the journal card. And that journal card I had made with mixed media technique with acrylic paints and stencils on packaging, like cell phone or vitamin packaging, something like that. So here I did hand tear this fairy, but I decide that I want a neater look. So I go ahead and fussy cut with scissors. And oh my gosh, I have to share with you this rabbit. I absolutely treasure this rabbit. My best friend Kirsten, made me this rabbit. And what I want to tell you about this rabbit is I had some pillows that were made out of 100% wool tweed, and they were really nice. And I was at a time in my life where, so just to interrupt my story, I just cut that center out with the X-Acto knife. I really wanted to see the page behind it, underneath it. That's why I did that. And I'm going to glue that down. And but anyway, so I was at a time in my life where I was purging too much stuff that I had and gave away some things that I regretted giving away. And those pillows were two things I regretted giving away. They were really lovely quality. I have a fascination and a love affair with textiles, fabrics, paper, so yarn. So I just loved the fabric. So anyways, long story short, several years went by, and then I had a birthday, and she gifted me that rabbit that she made herself out of one of those pillows. Not only do I absolutely love rabbits, I got the pillow back in the form of a rabbit that I just treasure. And I just think this is such serendipity and just a lovely way to look at life. And I'm learning to look at life in a better way, in a brighter way than I have in my past. And I highly recommend it if you're in a need to do so. And it helps. It creates a butterfly effect when we do this ourselves, even silently within ourselves. It creates a butterfly effect out to the universe. So here I cut up some lace to go around and underneath my patchwork flower, just to pop it out even a little bit more on the page, because I can't help myself. I cannot help myself. And I'm using some Distress Oxide in, I think this is Festive Berries. No, might have been, no, it's Abandoned Coral. And it's super juicy, this particular one. So I get a little bit off on my scrap paper, and then I just rub it over the lace just to give it a little bit of pop off the page and coordinate with my color scheme. And then when those are dry, I glue those down to the journaling card. I arrange them under the flower. I find which way I want to face the flower, the patchwork flower. I play around with the lace pieces until I'm happy with the spacing. And I finally commit and glue them down with the Fabrifix or Fabri-Tac glue. You could also use a sewing machine with this, or you could continue to hand stitch or slow stitch if you're so inclined. And I was inclined, but I really wanted to get this video out, so I decided to glue. So here it is so far. You could leave it here, but I want to do more. I definitely want to do more. So I'm going to use that other stamped off piece of, that was I think it's called a Deep Red River or something like that stamp company. And it was an art, they're called Art Deco stamps. I love them. Highly recommend if you like antique things. And they come out nice and crisp. So anyway, I wanted to use that last piece and you make a pocket on the bottom of my journaling card, which is ridiculous because the journaling card is in a pocket. But why not? Why not? Go for it. Pocket in a pocket. So I'm just so happy. I'm clapping because I'm so happy because I've never patchworked before. Again, thank you, Janet. So here I'm using some, I think they're called Caran d'Ache. They're like crayons, but they're actually very quality art product, professional art product. And they're meant to add water with afterwards, and they create gorgeous watercolor effects. So again, if you're new to watercoloring and you want to try it and you're afraid, these crayons are an excellent way to get your feet wet because it's just like coloring. And then you can just color like on watercolor paper, draw, color, whatever, and then take a wet brush and go over it, and it's unbelievable. It's like you're watercoloring. So you can see here when you add water, they're so pigmented and they really move well with water. And I'm sure on watercolor paper they would be awesome, for movement. So here sometimes I use these around my edges as well instead of ink, just for something different. Keep it flowing. Don't get too stagnant in your art. I try not to create too much muscle memory as I'm learning, just to keep it fresh. So here I'm adding water to all of that crayon, the Caran, I think they're called Neo Color crayons by Caran d'Ache. And here I'm using some black Liquitex acrylic paint, just some cheap paint. And this was a cardboard like thing you'd throw away after like I bought some ribbon and it was wrapped around that. And when the ribbon was gone, I thought, ooh, this would be cool for mixed media. So I kept it. So I forgot to mention that I completely forgot about the mindful quote or the mindful word, and I'm going to add one later. And I think my word's going to be prana. But anyway, so I wanted to say that the back page is the book page and acrylic paint that's orange, the coral color, and then the top is the scrapbook paper that's pasted down, book page on the bottom left, and then more scrapbook paper on the other side glued down over the paint. And I used gesso first. And that rabbit sadly didn't make it on camera. I did stamp and watercolor him as well in fussy cut. I thought I was filming and it didn't get on there, darn it. But I had so much fun. Thank you, Janet. I absolutely love your prompts and love your group of ladies. Really appreciate it. And there I just went around and hand wrote with a permanent marker, little marks on the edge. Bye.